What if I told you that one of the greatest empires in history wasn't brought down by foreign invaders, but by a single, repeated mistake from within? This isn't just a history lesson, it's a cautionary tale that echoes even today. I'm talking about the Roman Empire. For centuries, it was the pinnacle of power, culture, and engineering. Its legions were unstoppable, its cities were marvels, and its influence stretched across the known world. So, what went wrong? How did this seemingly invincible giant crumble? The answer isn't a single battle or a bad emperor. It's something far more fundamental, a fatal flaw baked into its political DNA, the lack of a clear, peaceful system for succession. Every time an emperor died, Rome held its breath. Would the power pass to a capable son? Would the Senate choose a wise leader? Or, as happened time and time again, would ambitious generals turn their armies against each other, plunging the empire into bloody civil war? This wasn't a rare event. It became the norm. Think about it. Imagine a country where every few years, the most powerful people with armies at their disposal decide to fight it out for the top job. That's what happened to Rome. This constant instability was the empire's undoing. It was a self-inflicted wound that never healed. Let's dive into the year that truly exposed this weakness, the year of the four emperors, 69 AD. After the infamous Emperor Nero died, the floodgates opened. First came Galba, a respected governor, but he was quickly overthrown and killed by Otho, who bribed the Praetorian Guard, the emperor's own bodyguards. But Otho's reign was short-lived. Legions on the Rhine frontier had already declared their general, Vitellius, as emperor. Otho marched to meet him, was defeated, and took his own life. Vitellius then entered Rome, but his victory was temporary, out in the east. The popular general Vespasian was hailed as emperor by his troops. His forces marched on Italy, defeated Vitellius's army, and after brutal street fighting in Rome itself, Vitellius was captured and killed. In a single year, Rome had seen four emperors and countless thousands dead, not from fighting foreign enemies, but from fighting themselves. Vespasian managed to restore order and even started a new dynasty, the Flavians. He built the Colosseum, a symbol of Rome's grandeur. For a moment, it seemed like the crisis was over, but the core problem remained unsolved. The cycle was just on pause. Fast forward a century to the death of Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king. He broke with the recent tradition of adopting a worthy successor and instead passed the throne to his biological son, Commodus. You might remember him from the movie Gladiator. While the film takes liberties, the core truth is there: Commodus was a disaster. His reign was marked by paranoia and self-indulgence, ending with his assassination. And what happened next? You guessed it. Another civil war. This was the year of the five emperors. The cycle repeated, but this time it was worse. The winner, Septimius Severus, was a military man through and through. He famously advised his sons to enrich the soldiers and scorn all other men. He essentially militarized the government, making it clear that the army, not the Senate or the people, was the true source of power. He stabilized the empire, but at a huge cost. He had reinforced the very problem that caused the instability in the first place, the idea that power came from the sword. This set the stage for the ultimate meltdown, the crisis of the 3rd century. This was a 50-year period of near total collapse. We're talking about at least 26 so-called barracks emperors in just 50 years. Most of them were generals proclaimed by their troops, and most of them died violent deaths, usually at the hands of their own soldiers. The empire was tearing itself apart. The economy was in ruins from constant warfare and the need to pay off the legions. The frontiers were weak because armies were busy fighting each other deep inside the empire. Barbarian tribes, who had once been kept at bay, now raided deep into Roman territory. The empire even split into 3 separate, competing states for a time. It was absolute chaos. And it all stemmed from that one original mistake: no reliable way to transfer power. Each general with a loyal army saw a path to the throne. The rewards for winning were immense, but the cost to the empire was catastrophic. It drained the treasury, decimated the population, destroyed infrastructure, and shattered the people's faith in the state. Every civil war was like a massive earthquake, weakening the very foundations of Roman society. Eventually, strong emperors like Diocletian and Constantine managed to pull the empire back from the brink. They implemented radical reforms. Diocletian even created the Tetrarchy, a system for co-emperors to rule the vast territory and, crucially, manage succession. It was a brilliant attempt to finally solve the problem, but ultimately, it failed. Human ambition got in the way, and the co-emperors and their successors soon went to war with each other. Constantine emerged as the sole ruler. But the fundamental issue of succession was never permanently fixed. By the time the final wave of barbarian invasions came in the 5th century, the Western Roman Empire was a hollow shell of its former self. It was economically broken, politically unstable, and militarily exhausted from centuries of internal conflict. The so-called fall of Rome in 476 AD wasn't a sudden event. It was the final gasp of an empire that had been slowly bleeding out for 300 years. The barbarians didn't conquer a mighty empire, they just pushed over a rotten structure. So, the great mistake that destroyed Rome was its failure to solve the problem of succession. It was a political failure that led to endless military conflict, which in turn caused economic and social collapse. They built aqueducts that stand to this day, created laws that form the basis of our legal systems, and produced timeless art and literature, but they couldn't figure out how to pass power from one leader to the next without tearing themselves apart. This story is a powerful reminder for any organization, any nation, any system. Without clear, stable rules for leadership and transition, ambition and internal conflict can fester and ultimately destroy even the strongest structures. From within, the external threats Rome faced were real, but the fatal wound was self-inflicted. It's a lesson from history that we should never forget. Thanks for watching, and if you found this interesting, consider subscribing for more deep dives into the stories that shaped our world.